Can you believe it? I sure can't. Your Chicago Bears are 11-4 after coming from behind to defeat the Green Bay Packers in overtime at Soldier Field. This is I'm at a loss for words, genuinely. This is unbelievable. Uh at one point in this game it was what? It was 16-6 with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then the Bears rallied back, got a field goal, a touchdown, sent it to overtime, and then scored another touchdown. 22-16. The Chicago Bears are 11-4. They're a game and a half ahead in first place in the NFC North. This is unbelievable. Uh, Welcome everybody to Wrap It Up. I'm your host, Jacob Infante. This is the official post-game show of Second City Gridiron. Whether you're watching us here on my Twitter page at Jacob Infante24, whether you're watching us on the Second City Gridiron YouTube page or the Facebook channel, welcome. Whether you're listening to this after the fact on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, welcome. We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, Jesus Christ. This was an utter roller coaster of a game. Someone mentioned here in the chat, I'm not going to bring that up right away because I'm not supposed to swear in the first 5 minutes. Otherwise, it'll get demonetized. Woo! But this is one of the craziest games, one of the craziest seasons I've experienced as a Bears fan, as somebody covering this Bears team in an amateur setting. I mean, where do we start? I guess we start with Caleb Williams. I mean, the fourth quarter was nothing short of unbelievable. Angel said in the chat here on Twitter, "Can I swear?" Yes, you can swear. I'm just not going to say it for another like 3 minutes or so. So we'll let it fly. I want to make money. So there you go. But anyway, it was a pretty ineffective first 3 quarters for the Bears offense. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, they had 3 points. Going into halftime, they had 0 points. It was, not a pretty sight if we're being totally honest, between, I don't know. We'll get into that more as the show progresses. We could talk about some of the bad because it started really poorly, and somehow, some way, the Bears found a way to make it work. Caleb Williams stayed clutch when it mattered most. He stepped up. The receivers did a good job of getting open. The tight ends, once they started to, use them a little bit more in the passing attack, they started to step up. DJ Moore, I think this was his best performance of this season. One of his best performances as a Chicago Bear, which is saying a lot because things had been, pretty bleak, honestly, for DJ for most of this year. But this was nothing short of phenomenal. And he finished with 5 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. In particular, he had he had 2 grabs. One, the 46-yard touchdown that clinched the game, and then he had another big play in a tight window late in that 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter that got the Bears moving down the field where they inevitably tied the game up. So he deserves a lot of credit too. Caleb deserves a lot of credit. He finished the game 19 for 34, 250 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. As I'm quickly doing the math, that's only a completion percentage of just under 55.9. But with that rate of success, I mean, that's still, if I had to guess, like 8-9 yards per attempt. That's still really good. He didn't get sacked a single time the entire game, which was remarkable considering how much pressure he faced. A lot of those incompletions, admittedly, getting the ball out, having to throw the ball away. And I think that the stats look pretty good. The completion percentage, not so great. But I think if you watch this game, you see a lot of those incompletions were a result of throwaways. Just he was getting pressured and he had to get the ball out. You do what you need to do. Can't throw that against him. I think this was a really good game for Caleb Williams. There were only maybe like 2 or 3 throws that I was like, what was that? Which over a course of 34 passes is really, really good. phenomenal performance. I think all the way around. The run game, once they stuck to it, uh, they didn't run the ball as much as I was expecting. Part of that was because the Bears just ran that whole bend don't break defense, and they were like, all right, well we'll just we'll let them drive, get a field goal, whatever the hell. And I don't know. I could say more about the bend don't break approach for the Bears. It's the reason they got into this mess. It's the reason they had to go into overtime in the first place. But the less said about that, the better. They stepped up when it mattered most. They got a little lucky with the Malik Willis fumble on the snap exchange, but even then, they deserve a lot of credit for the tenacity they played with in the fourth quarter, just how aggressive they were, flying to the ball, stepping up when it mattered most. The run defense was pretty poor early on, but again, in the fourth quarter, the Packers, all they had to do is run the ball up the middle, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it all that efficiently. So the Bears deserve a ton of credit for that. And, Montez Sweat on that last play, I dogged on him saying, it's like, oh, he didn't appear when it mattered, in the biggest game of the season, but, he got that key sack on Malik Willis. The Packers got the ball back coming out of the Bears touchdown. It's like, oh, maybe the Packers, they've got their timeouts. Maybe they have an opportunity to, move the ball down the field. I don't know. Uh, but uh, well, I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. But Montez Sweat came through in the clutch with a huge sack. The Packers didn't have any opportunities to get anything going. I gotta love it. I gotta love it. Really. Swift had a solid game. 4.5 yards per carry, 58 rushing yards on 13 carries, two catches for 12 yards as well. Kyle Monangai, three catches for 43 yards out of the backfield. Also had 9 carries, 50 rushing yards. That's 5.6 rushing yards or 5.6 yards per carry. Caleb also had 3 carries for 3 rushing touchdowns. So I'm going to start taking some of these questions. If you're listening live, feel free to send whatever here in the chat. Now that we've passed the 5-minute mark, we can swear, so we can say whatever the hell we want. uh, that's a I think you should leave reference. I've got a good I think you should leave story. But my dad might be watching, so I don't want to say it because it might scar him for life if I mention that online. But let's see. Going through, Ella says, however this season ends, we have made some core memories from the 2025 season. I'm 100% with you. I think that, I mean, obviously winning this game is massive. You have the 49ers still, you have the Lions still, but now with 2 games left in the regular season, you have a 1.5 game lead, and that's just for first place. Uh, if the Lions lose one more game the rest of the year, they're automatically eliminated, and the Bears make the playoffs. So I think that's huge. I mean, the Lions don't have a super tough schedule, but still, it's 3 games. Uh, there's a chance that they could. There's a very real chance that they could lose at least one of those games. Maybe they beat the Bears in Week 18. If it means the Bears already had made the playoffs, I really don't care. Uh, but yeah, I was gonna say I didn't tweet this because I'm like superstitious as fuck, but I was gonna say regardless of how this game finishes out, the recovered onside kick is gonna live on forever with me. The move down, moving down the field, Caleb Williams to Jade Walker on Walker's first career NFL regular season receiving touchdown. Uh, I was gonna remember that forever, and I've been watching here with my dad. He's picking up my younger brother who went to the game. He's driving down right now. But me and my dad, we were losing it here. Jumping up and down, hugging each other, giving high fives and everything, losing our shit. That's the stuff that memories are made out of. So I mean, it's definitely the most fun we've had since 2018 watching the Bears. I mean, you look at the other seasons, it's like shit. There's not really much to choose from, but it's so refreshing to have a good, exciting team to watch and to root for. Uh, and even down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, to have that thought in the back of your head where it's like, oh, well, it's not over yet. Maybe they can get something going here. As opposed to the last few years, it's like, oh fuck. I mean, they don't have anything. They don't have any chance here of getting anything going. You know, or if they have the lead, it's like, oh well, how are they going to blow this now? So And Cap Guns, yeah, speaking of 2018, says best game I've seen since the Bucks game in 2018. I'm with you for sure. And I was at that game. That was fun as hell. And I was telling my dad this is the most energetic I've seen Soldier Field since the wild card game against the Eagles that year, where nothing happened of note at all. And J2K Designs in the YouTube chat says, I haven't felt this way since Mike Brown interception for a touchdown in overtime back to back weeks. I think that was '01. I was a baby. I wasn't even a year old when that was going on. If you want to see how young and boyish I am, but that's why people love me. My childish, boyish charm. Probably not a uh, good week to make those type of remarks given stuff that's happened. But oh well. Andrew's angry that Pope gave us a miracle. Hell yeah, he did. Uh, I love the bit. I absolutely love the bit that uh, the reason that they're good, well, maybe not the reason, but a reason they're good right now is the Pope. We have a Chicago Pope. This team is blessed, destined by God himself to, I don't know, to at least make the playoffs. I mean, there's a very real chance that the current Pope of the entire Roman Catholic Church watched the what was it, the Keith Trailer interception all those years ago. There's a good chance he saw that. There's a good chance that the current Pope of the Roman Catholic Church watched the 2006 comeback against the Arizona Cardinals on Monday Night Football, saw them win the NFC Championship. Uh, I mean, I don't know what time it is in Rome right now. Like, I don't feel like doing the math because I've never been good at math, but there's a chance that the current Pope watched this game or at least knows about Caleb Williams. So that's pretty fucking sweet. My aunt, Linda Chipetta, holy shit. I know, right? Uh, there you go. I always enjoy seeing my aunt come in here because I went to a Blackhawks game the other day with my uncle who's married uh to my aunt Linda. Uh and they give like nice little fun comments saying like, oh, I tuned into the stream, there were some real jackasses or whatever, and I'm like, hell yeah. Uh but yeah, we're feeling good right now. Let's see. I'm going through. Then Andrew's Angry says here in the Twitter chat, on a sour note, I'm done with Zacchaeus. Guy can't catch or make a play. Give his snaps to Walker. Once Roman Burden are back, he can go. So yeah, I'm assuming that. Sorry. Yeah, I know he. So you mentioned here. You said a time. It says time and Burden, but you mentioned in a follow up comment that it's Rome. Once Rome and Burden are back, he can go. I do think, yeah, Zacchaeus isn't it. He can get open, but his hands are just way too inconsistent. He had one play on that 2 minute drill. I think it was the 2 minute drill. It was either that or the one, the field goal drive. I'd have to go back and check, but it was in the fourth quarter. He was wide open, got open on it was either like a deep in or a post or something like that. Just, more of an in breaking, deeper route. And he was open, just totally dropped it. He went for a body catch, bounced off the chest. So I think I think it's about fair. It's been a struggle for him all year with drops, and slowly but surely, I think we've seen his target shares gone down. But yeah, anyway, I'm with you. I think that Zacchaeus, he can get open, but that doesn't mean too much when he can't catch the ball. So, Home Squad Sports says, hats off to you, sir. My victory cigar turned into a coping mechanism. My coping mechanism is going to be a happy dad. They're not sponsoring me, unfortunately, but I just happen to have one, or my dad happens to have one. He was a happy dad today. I accidentally called it a hard dad seltzer because it's a happy dad hard seltzer. I called it a hard dad seltzer. And that was really awkward for me to bring up to my dad. Wasn't very fun. So anyway, Chris Armstrong in the YouTube chat says, is this the franchise changing win? I mean, this feels like as close to a franchise changing win as you could possibly get. Honestly, not only to pick up a win I think for a variety of reasons. I don't know exactly where to start, but one, you needed this win to like significantly enhance your playoff chances. You do that. You were down by 2 scores late in the fourth quarter. You find a way to tie it, bring it into overtime. You come back with your young quarterback, ice in his veins. I think we're all aboard the Iceman train right now. That's his nickname. He was Superman in college. Now he's Iceman. That's what, 6 game-winning drives. Nuts, fucking nuts. Uh, I mean, yeah, to be able to, come back, win in overtime, win in, a prime time spot Saturday night. It's the only NFL game that's on right now, uh, against your biggest rival. I'd say absolutely. We'll have to wait and see how this ages, what the rest of the Ben Johnson era in Chicago looks like. But it's like, all right, the Bears have arrived. If you had any doubts, if you had any I mean, if you had any doubts, why the fuck do you have any doubts about the Bears now, going into this? But if you had any doubts, you don't have any now. This team's legit. No excuses. No, they beat on bad teams. Fuck you. Now they beat the Eagles, and now they beat the Packers. Those are two pretty damn good wins right now, if you ask me. Both of those teams are probably going to make the playoffs. The Eagles have already clinched their division. Packers are probably going to be at least a wild card team. So I'm with you. I think this is a franchise changing win, or at least a franchise defining win. 100%. Uh, Pierce Salbago, how's it going? What do you think about the bungled trick play early on? Would you have tried that there? I mean, I wouldn't have, honestly. Like, I get it. My philosophy is you're not going for, or at least I prefer not to, go for some of those trick plays if you don't absolutely, if you're not in a comfortable position. If you're playing from down, if you're playing from behind, I'd prefer to stray away from, some of the more cutesy trick plays. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I understand where he was coming from, but at the same time, I also don't. It was a 4th-and-1 situation. I also don't like. We've got Kyle Monangai taking the snap directly out of the shotgun. It's more yards that he has to run to even get to the, first down marker. I don't know. That's why I just kind of prefer, a quarterback sneak or just a hand off right up the middle. That's just the way that I prefer it, at least. I wouldn't have tried it. I wouldn't hate it in most situations. I mean, like if they tried that in like the Browns game early on, where it's like, okay, you're up a touchdown, it's the second quarter. Why the hell not? Catch them off guard. I think it's a intriguing enough play where if it can work gangbusters. I don't know if I would have called it there, but I mean it it worked out in the end. So that's pretty pretty sweet. Uh, but yeah, so actually, hold on. I'm gonna say Heroes of the Shy in the Twitter chat says how/when do the Bears win the division? So the Bears need to win one more game. The Bears need to win one more game, then they clinch they clinch the NFC North. If they beat either the 49ers or the Lions, then they win no matter what. Uh, if the Packers win out and the Bears lose out, then the Packers can still win the division because they'd be at 11-5-1. The Bears would be at 11-6. The ties basically, it's basically nothing. And the Packers would have the same amount of wins and just one fewer loss. So the Bears would need to do is win just one of their next 2 games. And if the Packers lose one more game, then what was I going to say? If the Packers lose one more game, then the NFC North is Chicago. So the Packers have the Ravens and the Vikings coming up. The Bears have the nice voice crack, idiot. The Bears have the 49ers and the Lions. The Lions, I'd have to go and check because if they win out, if they win their 3 remaining games, they beat the Steelers, Vikings, and Bears, they'd be 11-6. The only way, though, that the Lions could win the division is if the Packers lose out and the Bears lose out and the Lions win out. So, I mean, it's not mathematically impossible, I don't think. I'd have to check the tiebreakers, but I think, if the Lions win, they'd have the tiebreaker because they'd be 2-0 over the Bears this year. But yeah, one more win is all the Bears need. There are other ways where they can go 0-2 and they can still win the division, but who wants to rely on that? My aunt's back here in the chat says, Uncle John says, do you think Coach Johnson waits until the second half to implement a more effective offense given the season? I mean, it's a good question. I'd say it's more of he learns from his mistakes. I think is the best way that I'd put it. And he's able to make halftime adjustments. He's got a pretty good opening drive script. The first two or three drives are pretty well scripted. I'd like to see him improve and have a little bit more in his arsenal and like late in the first and throughout the second quarter. I think coming out of the second half, he can do, coming out of the second half, he does a pretty solid job for the most part of figuring out, okay, this is what went wrong. This is how we're going to adjust. Uh, I think it shows he's a good coach who can adjust. I think that if they're a little more effective in the first half outside of their scripted first 2-3 possessions, then you're golden. Then you're golden. Patrick Shea here in the chat in the YouTube chat says, I don't think there's a single win. This is just a franchise-altering season. Ben is growing and learning as a coach. He wants to be a little too cute sometimes, but he adjusts in game. Absolutely. And to my point there as well, what I was saying about the second half adjustments, that's a big reason why the Bears won today. And it wasn't a perfect called game by any means. It wasn't a perfectly executed game by any means, but the Bears deserve a lot of credit. The coaching staff deserves a lot of credit, especially on offense, for figuring out what went wrong and then just making tweaks and going from there. The passing attack was a lot stronger. They picked up the tempo. They relied on short, passes like rub routes and those combination, route combos to be able to, work themselves open. I thought that was really impressive. I think that Ben, he is growing as a coach and he's learning and he's developing. I am so excited for the good, better, best to come out. I've got the Twitter post notifications on in my on my phone for the Bears official page. Whenever that comes out, I'll let you guys know. I know if you're listening to this after the fact, you've probably already seen it, but whenever you guys go live, then you can check that out. As long as you promise to come back here, that would be very much well appreciated. Very sweet of you. Thanks. I love you. Let's see. Yeah, my dad mentioned earlier. I was talking about how fun it was here. It was amazing. We ate Lou Malnati's. I think that was the problem with the last game. Is we were drinking Spotted Cow. We were drinking Spotted Cow. Good beer, but it's a Wisconsin beer. I think that's the problem. That's the reason the Bears lost last game is because we were drinking a Wisconsin beer. Now I was drinking a Miller Lite, which is a Wisconsin beer, but it's a national thing. So I think that that's where it's a little bit different. We're, we've got a little bit more clear drinking, something national as opposed to something that's Wisconsin local. So I'm never doing that again. Never drinking Spotted Cow during a Bears Packers game for the rest of my life. Let's see. J2K Designs from the YouTube chat back at it here asking, where do you rank this win? Monday Night Football Cardinals, they are who we thought they were. Mike Brown pick 6 back-to-back weeks. So like I mentioned earlier, I was too young. Like I was alive when Mike Brown had his back-to-back picks. I mean, sick as hell. I've watched the highlights a good handful of times, but I was way too young to remember it. So I can't rank that at the top just because I don't have that in-person context, understanding what was going on this season. Oh my God. I'd say the Monday Night Football win in 06 against the Cardinals was a little bit better because it was a bigger deficit, but you could definitely make the argument that this one was bigger too. This one against the Packers, where, I mean, it's later in the season, it's bigger stakes. It's not as big of a comeback from a points perspective, but late in the playoff race, you need this win to really help out your playoff chances, to help your NFC North chances, and you execute. You come from behind against your biggest rival, arguably the biggest NFL rivalry in the league. So I don't know. I think those two, you can really go either way. But yeah, it's all those are incredible. All those are incredible games, incredible plays. But yeah, I mean, good Lord. Let's see. God dash KP8NF in the YouTube chat comments, and if it's actual God, hi, sorry, it's been a little bit. I hope you're doing well. I need to go to church. I need to go to church tomorrow. After that, I think I owe the big guy one. But anyway, but do you think Caleb is a good quarterback? I do. I do. I don't think he's a perfect quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I think he's good. I think he's good, and a big reason of that is the physical attributes that he has, the elite arm talent, the athleticism he brings to the table, the elite sack avoidance, the creativity outside of structure. I think all those make him a good quarterback, and also just the clutch gene he has, the ability to step up when the game's on the line when it mattered most. I mean, Lord knows the Bears have seen so many quarterbacks who just aren't able to get the job done in the clutch. Uh, and Caleb isn't one of those guys. He's different from what we've had. And this is now six game-winning drives, six fourth quarter comebacks that the Bears have executed, and Caleb has been instrumental in all of them. I think that off of that alone, just how consistent he's been and how poised he's been in big game settings, yes, he's a good quarterback. Now, I think I think the accuracy is improving. There's still room to grow, but I think he's much more accurate than the completion percentage indicates. Like I mentioned, so much of it comes down to throwaways, and again, it's sack avoidance, where he's able to scramble, he's able to make the play. If there's not an opportunity for him to take off and run with the ball, he'll throw the ball away so he doesn't get sacked, so he doesn't set his offense back. It's one thing to, oh, it's just an incompletion. It's now 2nd and 10 instead of 1st and 10. Or to, get sacked to have a higher completion percentage, but oh, now it's 2nd and 17. I'd take the throwaways every single time. So I think the completion percentage, while yes, it shows, some of the accuracy in the intermediate range may need to be a little more consistent. The deep ball is actually above average, and I know I've written about that at length before at Windy City Gridiron. Uh, Check that out if you haven't already. I mean, it's long story short, the Bears rely a lot heavier on deep passes, on lower percentage passes that you know have a higher chance of bringing out explosive plays, uh, for sure. And I think that kind of skews the completion percentage, but makes the yards per attempt pretty high and makes the overall efficiency of the offense pretty high. So, all that to say, yes, I do think Caleb is a good quarterback. And I think if anybody had any doubts, they know he's legit. Maybe not elite yet, but he's legit. Sir in the Twitter chat says frauds will say they're injured. Referring to the Packers, yeah. So Jordan Love obviously got hurt early on in the game with a concussion. He was out for the game. Austin Booker, his helmet collided with Love's helmet. Love kind of ducked his helmet down a little bit, and then Booker didn't get up in time. Collided head to head, and that was a penalty on Booker. Look, I don't care. I could not care less if it was Jordan Love, Malik Willis, Bruce Willis, Bruce Springsteen. It could be anybody at quarterback. The Bears beat the Packers in prime time. They're 11-4, and they're in a much better position to stay in the playoff race and to stay on top of the NFC North than they were going into this game. That to me is literally all that matters. The Packers could have their entire team hurt. Obviously, I wouldn't want that for the sake of their human beings, but if the Bears beat that team, it wouldn't matter to me any different than the Bears beating a fully healthy Packers team. So before anyone says, "Oh, the Packers were hurt," I don't care. I really don't care. This was a huge win in every sense of the word. Gotta love it. Uh, let's see. I'm going through. Brian Hradek says, "Jacob, I love you, dude. Let's get that one sin," and then he says, "Win." Uh, so I was wondering for a second there what that one sin was going to be. If anyone has any opinions on it in the chat, let me know. So there you go. Anyway, uh, yeah, that would be huge. I mean, like I said earlier in the show, the Bears just need one more win in order to make the playoffs against either the 49ers or the Lions. They can lose out and still make the playoffs. They can lose out and still win the NFC North. Obviously, you don't want to have to rely on that, though. If you can get 12 wins, that would be insane. If you can get 13 wins, I mean, that'd be nuts. I don't know if they will. I mean, the 49ers and Lions are two good teams, but you never know. Uh, Uno in the chat says, Nashawn Wright, man, I know. Uh, I saw a stat over the game that he leads the NFL in turnovers force. I admittedly haven't gone through to fact check that. So I'm taking it at face value. I know it's 5 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. Both of those forced fumbles have come in clutch games, one against the Eagles, one against the Packers, both, huge games that the Bears needed to win. And Nashawn Wright came through, got those huge turnovers to really turn the tides in the Bears' direction. So phenomenal, genuinely. I think he's had an impressive year. I know whenever he gets beat, but he's got a knack for making plays that is matched by very few in the NFL this season. So he deserves a ton of credit for that. What we're going to do here, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsors. While I'm doing that, if anybody has any comments, feel free to let them run free. If you're watching live on Facebook, on YouTube, either the Second City Gridiron pages or on my Twitter. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll answer them. But for now, I want to talk to you about our sponsor for today, which is Rula. So, I mean, like, taking care of your mental health shouldn't be any harder than taking care of your physical health. I mean, like, if you pull a muscle, you go to see a doctor. But, when it comes to finding the right therapist, it starts to become frustrating because, there's long wait lists. You're looking at huge out-of-pocket costs. That's usually what stops people from getting the help they need. That's where Rula comes in. So Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. They work with most major insurance plans, and the average session copay is just $15. So if you think about that, $15, that's the cost of lunch, pretty much. But instead of a sandwich, you're investing in your own headspace. And I mean, with Rula, you're not just matched and left to figure it out. Uh, they don't just hand you someone random. They work with most major. They check in and make sure that you're actually making progress. All the therapists that they have on the platform, they're all licensed, vetted, and picked for their expertise. So you're talking to someone legit, not just whoever happens to be available. Getting started couldn't be easier. You answered just a quick few questions about what matters to you, and then Rula connects you with in-network providers who actually fit your needs. You pick the time, and you could be talking to a therapist as soon as the next day. So there's no weeks of waiting, no endless back and forth. Bottom line, if you've been putting this off, Rula takes away the excuses and makes it way easier for you to get help. It's simple, affordable, and it's actually built to help you get better. So thousands of guys out there have already used Rula to finally get the care that they needed. So don't put it off. Go to rula.com/gridiron and get started today. The code is scrolling at the bottom here. If you're watching the video stream, you'll be able to, have access to the link throughout. But for those of you who are watching audio only, that's Rula, RULA.com/gridiron, GRIDIRON. Take the first step, get connected, and take control of your mental health. So we're back at it. The Chicago Bears are 11-4, 22-16. The Bears beat the Packers in overtime today. The Packers fell to 9-5-1. The Bears just need one more game to win, either against the 49ers or the Lions, and they clinched the NFC North right out of the gate. So for those of you just joining me, welcome to Wrap It Up. I'm your host, Jacob Infante. This is the official post-game show of the Second City Gridiron Podcast Network. You can check us out anywhere you get your podcasts, or on Facebook, on YouTube. I always go live on my Twitter stream as well. As of right now, not to toot my own horn, we're over 7,000 live listeners here on the post game show on Twitter. There are a couple podcasts that are going on right now, and by a considerable margin, this is the top one. And I couldn't do it without any of you. So, if any of you guys want to get your voices heard, this is the place to be. You'll have the most amount of reach here, and we just get to have a lot of fun celebrating the Bears. As you look at the Louis Vuitton gun in the background that my dad has. So my dad and my brother are both here right now. That's there you go. I'm a little disappointed. My brother told my dad he was going to say like, I want to come home with the Bears win and no voice. I'm a little disappointed that you were able to shout, but I mean, we'll take the win. We'll take the win no matter what.
We were down most of the game.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I saw some that works. That works. I mean, I saw some of the videos. You guys were going ape shit earlier on, like in the fourth quarter there in overtime. I mean, it's
The video of the Johnny Walker touchdown.
yeah,
So I'm screaming my head off in that.
yeah, it's nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, and like I can't possibly imagine like that's probably the most energetic Soldier Field has been in years. And like even just on the broadcast, like it looked like unbelievable. Like everyone was just uh losing it.
It was the most energy I've seen in a Bears game since Bears Rams 2018. I don't know what week that was, but it was the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl. They had the white stripe helmets. They still had their old uniforms, but the new helmets.
Yeah.
It was whatever that year.
Like that weird mismatch. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was Jared they had Jared Goff in hysterics the entire game. I don't know if that came through for any. I feel like it probably did. We don't have much noise in the background, but we were just talking about my. In case you couldn't hear, my brother said that this is the most lively he's seen Soldier Field since the Bears Rams game, back in 2018. I don't know if it was Sunday night or I think it was Monday Night Football, where Jared Goff got absolutely shat on by that Vic Fangio defense, and now we're right here back at it. I mean, genuinely. So, if anybody has any questions, has any comments about the game, feel free to bring them up. We're in the second half of the show here, so I'm going to open the floor to you guys to have your opinions as much as possible. Andrew Zangri mentioned too over the break saying, I know hindsight is 2020, but an edge like Garrett or Crosby would be huge for this defense. A better D-line and pass rush would also help the linebackers and secondary. I mean, I'm with you for sure. I think that's the one thing, especially early on, that really showed is the Bears just don't have a significant pass rush. They can't consistently get there with four guys. And it kind of limits you as a defensive coordinator to where, I mean, I want to give Dennis Allen a little bit of leeway because the secondary has been hurt a lot of the year and the defensive line it's not a great unit. I don't think Poles has done a very good job of, building out a strong defensive line. He's definitely done a good job of building out other positions. I mean, obviously, because they're 11-4. I mean, you wouldn't be good with that kind of record. You'd have to be good with that kind of record, I guess. But I'm with you. I posted earlier in the middle of the game that you need a defensive lineman who's going to be able to be a true impact player because the Bears don't have that right now. They're paying Montez Sweat that kind of money. He's a good player. I think that sometimes people get a little too caught up in the fact, oh, he's not getting a ton of pressures. He does get a decent amount of sacks. He makes some decent plays against the run. Is he appropriate value to what they're paying him? I don't think so. But at the same time, it's not a bad value either. So I think that if a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby were able to come up, absolutely, I'd throw the Brinks truck at those guys and be like, hey, Cleveland, you want multiple first round picks and draft capital, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Hey, Raiders, do you want multiple multiple early round draft picks? We'll go right ahead. I think that would be a true difference maker. Again, those type of guys don't hit the market very often. Garrett just signed an extension. Crosby's on an extension too. They're by all accounts, they're pretty happy with where they're at. But both of those teams are losing a lot. Both of those teams, they have a really, really good pass rushers, and they're not doing anything with it with the rest of their team. So if either of those two in particular become available, absolutely, I want the Bears to be in on that. That's why I wanted the Bears to be in on Micah Parsons this year. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were this year, or as good as they have been. But I still thought, all right, Micah could be the missing piece of this team needs, kind of like Khalil Mack was in 2018. Uh, I'd I'm trying to think. It's a different reason that the Bears are winning games. I'm trying to compare the 2018 team to this year's team. Obviously, the 2018 team is a lot better, but outside of Khalil Mack, if you remove Khalil Mack from the question, I'd argue that this Bears team is more talented than the other one. Uh, Khalil Mack is obviously a massive, you know, pendulum swing, so to speak, to put that in the 2018 team's direction. But you still have defensive playmakers in the secondary. Nashawn Wright's been phenomenal. Kevin Byard's been phenomenal. Had some lapses in man coverage, but again, in zone coverage in terms of making plays on the ball, he's really good. Brisker can make some hits. Stevenson's shown some, he can make encouraging plays from time to time. Uh, the offense is definitely better, though. I think Ben Johnson's a better offensive play caller than Matt Nagy. Not a hot take at all. And just the sheer talent that they have up front, better offensive line, better group of weapons, better quarterback, better, more diverse run game, I think. Howard and Cohen was a good backfield. I'd take Swift and Monangai with how they've been this year over those two. So yeah, all that to say, if you can get an elite edge rusher, I think the sky's the limit for this team. We'll see what happens. Just B Pie, just Beppy B Pie in the Twitter chat says, being excited about the Bears since Christmas. It's been too long. It really has been, hasn't it? I mean, and everyone, I go to family Christmas events every year, and we're all in the Chicago area. The Bears are going to come up. They know about like the writing and streaming and stuff that I do on here. So we always talk about the Bears. It's always a discussion, and it's always, oh God, the Bears are shit this year, aren't they? And it's always, it's for different reasons every year, but it's always the Bears suck. The Bears are terrible. The coaching is a mess. The quarterback play is a mess. Something needs to change. That's not going to be the case this year. And I think I feel a lot more holly and a lot more jolly this Christmas season now that the Bears are actually playing well. I consider myself a festive individual. I love me some holiday magic and holiday cheer. Don't mind me. I'm just checking. So the good, better, best does not hit the timeline yet. So there's your update, like the NORAD Santa tracker. I'm just going to be the good, better, best tracker and let you guys know whenever that video comes out, because I'm going to retweet it right away. So I might pause, but yeah, it's crazy. It's unbelievable to think we're this late into the season. It's Christmas time now in just a couple days, and the Bears are good. The Bears are good. So I know a lot of you guys, probably being in the Chicago area or wherever you're from, you probably talk about football with your family. Uh, the vibes are going to be high. The conversations are going to be pleasant. Hopefully there are no arguments for any of you guys at your Christmas parties or holiday parties. And hopefully the Bears can bring some unity to this wonderful world. But I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm not a philosopher. I'm just a dude with a shitty beard. Uh, I like the mustache. I like the mustache. I wish that a little more would grow on the chin. Anyway, M. Segal Saidi in the YouTube chat mentions, how long until number one Jalen Johnson gets his legs back and does not give so much cushion to wide receivers? I think a lot of that, actually giving up the cushion, like being a little bit passive off the line of scrimmage, I think a lot of that can come down to just the scheme. I mean, we saw it with Matt Eberflus a lot, where the quarterbacks play off the line of scrimmage a little bit more. It limits the deep ball. Like that. It's the bend don't break approach. If we're a little further off the line of scrimmage on defense, then we're not going to be able to give up the deep ball. and we'll thrive in the red zone where your options are a little more limited. So I do think that the actual giving up of cushion, a lot of that comes down to play calling, but I do think that the explosiveness, not amazing exactly from Jalen Johnson since he's come back from injury. Like I don't think the aggressive shutdown corner ability has been there. Granted, he's missed most of the season, so I want to give him a little bit more time. If the Bears make the playoffs, which I'm assuming, I mean, it's looking like they will, knock on wood, uh, then I'd like to see Jalen Johnson at full strength, or playing at least close to his full capacity, even if he's not shutting guys down for a 0.0 passer rating. Maybe he's deflecting passes, or he's still covering opposing teams' wide receiver ones pretty well. I mean, depending on what seed they'd get, you might be going up against the 49ers don't have great receivers. It's more like Kittle and McCaffrey and stuff like that make that offense go. But if you're probably not facing the Rams or the Seahawks. Uh, anyway, it could be anybody. You want to have a cornerback who's able to consistently shadow the top corner or the top receiver on the opposing team, especially in the playoffs. So I don't think Jalen's at that spot yet. Just from a health perspective, I'd love for him to be, or at least from an athleticism perspective, I don't think he's there yet. But anyway, uh, and my dad just slid me a napkin here, like I'm Walter Cronkite, like JFK just got shot or something. 8,600 viewers right now. We're actually, as he sent that over, we're at 8,800 right now. So thank you to every single one of you who's tuned in. Again, if you have any questions, any comments about this Bears game, feel free to fire away in the chat if you're watching live. If there's anything you missed, if you're watching live right now, if there's anything you missed, you can check it out on my Twitter page at Jacob Infante 24. You can check it out on my YouTube, not my YouTube, but the Second City Gridiron YouTube channel, the Second City Gridiron Facebook page, or wherever you get your podcast on the Second City Gridiron Podcast Network. You can get all of my post-game streams there, as well as all the other tremendous work that everyone in the Second City Gridiron Network does. A lot of great people, a lot more prestigious journalists and reporters than me. But I don't know. I'm the guy who says fuck and makes poo jokes. So, I'm grateful that all you guys are tuning in and listening to this. My aunt says, so the Bears moving to Indiana. I don't think so. I think it's just a ploy, a leverage ploy from Kevin Warren, where it's like, hey, if this doesn't work, we could always just go to Northwest Indiana. That's never going to be a good look for, especially a team like the Chicago Bears, where that's a foundation of Chicago. That's a foundation of the state of Illinois. If they played in Indiana, that's not going to look good for. I mean, if I don't know. I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to get too political. If Pritzker wants to run for president, it's going to be tough to sell. Oh, well, the Bears went to Indiana or the Bears went to Wisconsin or whatever. I know I tweeted something out about that. I deleted it because apparently there's some sort of legislature bull crap. I'm like, I'm not going to read all that. Who cares? But I don't think the Bears are moving to Indiana. I think they'll stay in the state of Illinois. I think it's eventually going to be Arlington Heights. They'll figure out a way to get that done. I don't know when it's going to be. I feel like it's probably going to be a lot later than Kevin Warren or the Bears originally anticipated, but I do think eventually they're gonna move stadiums and it's going to be in the state of Illinois, and I think it's going to be Arlington Heights. We have a couple mentions in the chat here. Bears Blast on Twitter says we do have to mention that Cairo Santos was great today. Yes, absolutely. And then Andrew Zangri also mentions unsung hero of tonight's game, Cairo motherfucking Santos. So both of you guys are 100% correct. Santos ended up in terrible conditions, mind you. I mean, it was windy. Literally on the broadcast, you could see the goalposts were shaking, the flags were shaking, the refs' pants were blowing in the wind like parachute pants. Joey, you were at the game.
The rest pants look like they're about to sweep him off his feet. It was so windy. It was even windier at the bottom of the field.
Jesus, that's nuts.
Goalposts were shaking the entire game.
Yeah. it's not easy. It's not easy to kick in those conditions. I mean, and it's cold on top of that. It's the lakefront, you know, it's colder down by the lake. It's windier usually down by the lake. I mean, it's that when Soldier Field gets windy and gets cold like that, it's one of the toughest places to possibly kick at. So Santos deserves a lot of credit. Uh, he went 3 for 3 on his field goals with a long of 51. Uh, all those field goals came in the second half. Uh, Cairo had a 46 yarder that was good. He had a 51 yarder that was good. And he also had as I'm scrolling down, 43 yarder that was good as well. And he hit the PAT to send it to overtime. So that's not easy. That's not easy to do in any situations when the stakes are that high, let alone when you're battling for first place in the NFC North. You're on Saturday Night Football. You've got millions of people watching your every move. Like those are for a regular season perspective, that's about as high of stakes as you can possibly get. And Santos nailed it. I know I've given him a lot of shit this year. A lot of people have given him a lot of shit this year, and some of it's been and rightfully so. But he stepped up huge today, and he deserves a ton of credit for how he performed, for how he adjusted his kicks, how he placed them with just the batshit winds. I think it was 15 miles an hour, but with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. I mean, you try kicking in 30 miles an hour. Like I can't kick like an old PAT from the 2 yard line. I can't even do that. Just as a normal guy, no one else can be able to do that as well. I mean, other people will be able to do that, but no, very few could kick with the reliability in the wind and the cold uh, in a prime time playoff situation, in a playoff like atmosphere like Santos did. So he deserves a ton of credit for it. David in the chat says, "Is this the best Bears win of your life?" It's up there. I mean, it's not. I'm taking a again, Happy Dad. This is the first time I've had Happy Dad. It's not bad. It's pretty good actually. Uh, Pineapple with electrolytes. So if you wanna get crunk after one of your workouts, electrolytes to replenish. Happy Dad. There you go. It's definitely up there as far as the best wins of my life. I'd say I'd have to go through and rank for sure, but I'd look at it as the Rams game 2018, Vikings game 2018, where Eddie Jackson had that pick six of Kirk Cousins. I think that was 2018. Uh, Late in the season, the Bears obviously all the playoff wins in 2006 leading up to the Super Bowl, the Cardinals game in 2006, leading up to that Super Bowl season. Uh, Trying to think of other games too. And then a lot of other games this year. Honestly, the Bengals game was phenomenal. Uh, I'd say that's probably the main one where it's like, oh shit, this is a really really entertaining game. I mean, when you have close wins like the Raiders and Commanders, the Giants, Vikings, Steelers, all those were close. Uh, but I'd say this and the Bengals game were the two most exciting games of this season because of the unpredictable nature of it all, because of the kind of the Bears like had a potential comeback opportunity that got that they shut down from the Bengals with their touchdown to Loveland. Whatever, it's up there. It's up there for sure. I'd say it's definitely a top 10 Bears win of my life. Keep in mind I was born in '01, so that '01 season was a really good one. I wasn't sentient for it. I wasn't able to speak, let alone comprehend what was going on right now. Uh, but yeah, and then say '06. What '06 was the first year like actually started paying attention to football. So '05 I know was another really good year. I didn't really know a ton about what was going on. I went to one game, but top 10 for sure, pushing top 5 as far as best Bears wins of my life for sure. It's a tough question. Mark Calloway in the Twitter chat. I hope that's the Undertaker, but if not, welcome Mark Calloway regardless. That's the Undertaker's real name. by the way. If you didn't know that, I know that because I don't know. Other people went out socializing. I was studying what the Undertaker's real birth name was. So there you go. Unreal how one play can change season outlook. Felt like a loss tonight. They might not have won again this season. It's true, really, that one play can change the outlook of a season, and we saw that last year with Matt Eberflus. I mean, 2024, things were looking really good for the Bears, and then the Hail Mary happened, and then that cost the Bears the game against the Commanders. They went on a massive losing streak after that, weren't able to bounce back. Uh, and yeah, I really think that, in that particular case, one play changed the entire season outlook. Uh, it did feel like a loss. The first three quarters definitely felt like, oh, this is a game that the Bears are probably going to lose. Uh, and they pulled away. They pulled away. They found a way to win. Uh, that's a lot of saying way, so it's a little bit of tongue twister. I'm stupid, but 100%. I think that once you got that, the Jade Walker touchdown in the back corner of the end zone, he got the two toes down, phenomenal. Once you saw, that DJ Moore catch in, the contested situation, phenomenal. And then once you got to overtime, actually, DJ Moore making that catch over the shoulder in the end zone, phenomenal. Uh, so it's more than just one play changing, the outlook of that game, but now instead of the Bears are 10-5 and they might not win their next two games, 10-7 isn't a guarantee to win you the division. Now they're 11-4 and they've got a game against the 49ers left. They've got a game against the Lions. They win one more, win one of those two games, you clinch the NFC North. Uh, the Packers lose however many games, the Lions lose one more game the rest of the season, you clinch the NFC North regardless, even if you go 0-2. So I'm with you 100%. Game Balls asks my dad, Steve Infante, who's sitting right here on the couch.
Yes, I am.
Here he is. You could interrupt me.
All right.
Yeah, no, no, I appreciate it. I'm sure the people appreciate it. But yeah, Game Balls. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with three. Two on off. No, no, I'm gonna go with four. Two on offense, one on defense, one special teams. Special teams. I'm going with Cairo. Uh, for those reasons I mentioned, kicking in the wind, that's no easy feat. I mean, that's a really tough thing to do. Uh, and like I know Zen of the Zealous 1582 mentions in the YouTube chat, it's just mostly the leg strength at times with Cairo. It's kind of rare his accuracy is the main culprit for slander. I'm with you there for sure. I think the leg strength is an elite caliber, but he's an accurate kicker, especially from 50 yards underneath. He's got good touch and good placement, and I think that's huge. I mean, it limits you as an offense in that, you can't rely on like the 50-55 yarder consistently, but that's neither here nor there. Bottom line, he was fantastic today. So Santos gets a game ball, Caleb gets a game ball. Uh, like I said, the poise, the accuracy, the decision making in the clutch, that 2-minute drill was fantastic. That last drive to get a field goal and cut down that lead a little bit, make it a 7-point game. He was surgical, he was precise. There's so much to like out of him there. And the more I have of this happy dad, I'm like, this is pretty good. Anyway, so Caleb for sure, DJ Moore as well. I know I mentioned his stat line at the top of the show, which ended up for the day being 97 receiving yards and a touchdown on 5 catches, 7 targets. Uh, those 2 catches down the stretch in particular, the jump ball across the middle of the field. I mean, he caught it away from his frame where the defensive back couldn't catch it. The strong, firm hands to really come down with it. There's no bobbling, no, difficult looking adjustment. I mean, he made it look easy. So DJ, and then on defense, I'll go with Nashawn Wright. So Nashawn Wright's going to be the fourth one. I think the forced fumble was absolutely massive. I'm getting a Snapchat audio call from one of my friends. I'm streaming, dude. You follow me on Twitter. I won't answer that right now. I'll get back to him later. Uh, but yeah, Nashawn Wright, I have to give him some credit as well because looking at that drive, I mean, the Packers were on the 4 yard line. They were on Chicago's 4. It was first and goal when the Packers handed the ball off to Josh Jacobs for 1 yard. Uh, let's see. He sent me a chat. Uh, hold 1 second. Back later. I'm just letting him know I'm calling him back later. But yeah, I mean, literally for Josh Jacobs to be right there on the 4 yard line, just all you have to do to get to run the ball in, make it that would have been a 12-3 game at the time, then eventually 13-3, assuming you make the PAT. But that would have been a 2-score game. Nashawn Wright's forced fumble, phenomenal. I think that really saved the Bears, even though they didn't get a touchdown, even though they didn't get points out of it, just to keep them competitive going into halftime. And they ended up giving up a touchdown. But say that, instead of 13-3 at halftime or going into the third quarter, it's 20-3. You're not coming back from that. That's a loss for the Bears. So that forced fumble that Nashawn Wright had played such a big impact on whether or not the Bears lost or won that game. So those are my game balls. My 4 game balls: Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Nashawn Wright, and Cairo Santos. Andrew says we need to get Seth freaking Rollins in here. Yeah, I saw there's a quote that said like after he retires from wrestling, he wants to do like WWE commentary and like Bears commentary or something. So Seth freaking Rollins, if you happen to be watching the show, I don't know if you are. Some of you are. A decent amount of you are. We're at over 10,000 viewers right now, which is insane. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching this stream. So, but yeah, I'd be a fan of that for sure. So, what we're gonna do? Look, we've been at this for an hour now. We're gonna transition into Jacob Infante's happy ending. So, everyone's favorite segment, as I have 2 of my family members here in the same room as me, as I'm showing off my happy ending on camera. Gotta love it. I mean, this is one of the biggest, unbelievable games that we've seen, one of the most clutch victories that the Bears have had in years. And I know that sounds like hyperbole going into it when you don't have the context. It absolutely was. The ability to come back from down, it was 13-3 at one point. It was 16-6 at one point, actually, in the fourth quarter. With at the time the Bears kicked a field goal to make it 16-9. There were 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They were down 2 scores with 3 minutes left in the quarter, and the Bears recovered an onside kick, scored a touchdown, got the ball back, sent it to overtime, scored again, and now they're 11-4. So they're in the driver's seat. They control a lot of their own destiny, not just in the playoffs in general, but in the NFC North. The Lions lose one more game in the next 3 games that they have. The Bears make the playoffs no matter what. If the Bears win one more game, they win the NFC North, which is nuts to think about. I mean, just considering how low things were last year, it was unbelievable. So the turnaround that Ben Johnson, that I'll give Ryan Poles credit too. I've slandered him a good amount. The turnaround that they've had has been nothing short of phenomenal. So things are good. Things are looking good. Things are looking up. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, I mean, there's nothing more left to say that I haven't said or that you guys haven't said in the comments here over the course of the hour. This is a different Chicago Bears team. This is a different Chicago Bears season. And it just feels so damn good to be able to say that and to be able to see this team picking up the wins that matter most. So your Chicago Bears are now 11-4 with a 22-16 victory over the Green Bay Packers. They have a game and a half lead in the NFC North. That's going to do it for Wrap It Up with Jacob Infante. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in, over 10,000 of you over the course of the evening, watching live. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Jacob Infante 24. Make sure to check out the, Second City Gridiron YouTube and Facebook pages. Like and subscribe as needed. Check out wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever the case is. Give us a nice little review if you like the show. If you don't like me, even just check out some of the other people that might be more your style. But we really have a lot of a lot of talented people in the Second City Gridiron Network. So thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Good, better, best is out. Perfect. All right. So that's just the perfect timing for me to end this stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go watch Good, Better, Best. I'm going to take my shirt off. Have a good time. No, all right, fine. I won't. I won't. But anyway, good win, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in to wrap it up. This has been Jacob Infante.